And they hadn't done that. Nobody had ever seen them all do it. And they didn't know whether it was a good thing or a bad thing.
Great March for Climate Action is a mobile community of concerned global citizens who are looking to create both a grassroots organizational change as well as a legislative change to address the impending climate crisis.
And how are you guys doing that? What is your plan?
Well, in terms of the actual march itself, we will be walking from Wilmington, so Los Angeles, California, to Washington, D.C., so about 3,000 miles over the next 8 months. We should be there by November 1st of 2014.
Yesterday, I heard someone say that this is kind of like a mobile village. Can you explain that a little bit?
Yes, it is a mobile village in that it's a community of people. Some people come and go. Some might be only here for 1 day, 2 days, a week, a month, whatever, but there's a core of, it's looking like it's about 40 people who are planning on going the whole way, and others will probably join as they find out about it, then they might join to the end, and we expect those numbers to go up. But what it is, it's a group of people traveling together, and then we those who are marching, those who do support vehicles do that, and then at the end of the day, they, we either are hosted by a church or we are able to have a campground.
We'll be essentially living with one another for 8 months. So it's unlike any other intentional community, which is a word that gets thrown around quite a bit nowadays. People are aware of an intentional community. People coming together for some shared purpose. As we are learning from each other, as we're unifying as a group, as a small group, again, as a microcosm of our American society, we'll be able to figure out what our message will be. We'll be able to determine some of the best ways to engage in discussions and conversations that, again, we're not looking simply to inspire, we're actually looking to create action. Again, we're not forcing action, we're allowing people to see that, yeah, we do actually need to do something about this. I need to do something about this. If these people are able to put off 8 months of their lives to do this, I can certainly take a couple steps in my community. So we're setting call it an example, not necessarily a precedent, but we are creating a situation where people will become engaged, because it's kind of hard not to. It's hard to ignore something that is going on in front of you, especially when we're meeting people in their communities and we're actively seeking a conversation too. When it comes to Washington, D.C., I'd like to think that if any less than 100,000 people show up, we've done something a little wrong. We could have done more, but it's not an unreasonable number, considering how many communities will be going through, how much time we have to invest in this process, and the simple advent of modern social networking technology. So, I guess if you're talking about strategy, I'm not sure if you're curious about what we have in mind that way. But again, emergent details, finding out who our allies are, and as we get going, it's been a very consistent, call it stumbling block, that the larger organizations will endorse what we're doing, but they won't actually offer support yet. Because, I guess, why would you? If somebody hasn't started on a march yet, and they're asking for support for doing a march, you need to have feet on the pavement first. And that's what we've been doing for the past week now, and we're not going to stop till the job is done.
One thing that we're working on more today is the idea of work teams. So like all the people who care about how the kitchen stuff gets done are going to talk together and say, how are we going to get the kitchen stuff done? Those who are interested in communications is, here's the stuff that we have going on, how are we going to make this stuff get done? And there's a various number of work teams which are kind of being decided, okay, which is a work team, or would this task go under this team or the other team?
Again, a large portion of what we're doing internally, we're coming together from vastly different backgrounds, different ages, different races, different religious affiliations. The same rules apply for these organizations that are basically working for the same thing, but still somehow separate. So understanding the internal dynamic that we have as a march community, it's a grand experiment, but again, it shows that if we can overcome these details over the next 8 months, there's no reason why the global community, but again, America to start, because that's where we happen to be, how we can overcome those differences to actually create an action by walking across the country, in this case as a group, camping pretty much exclusively, with the exception of times when we'll be invited into homes of people that may be supporting, or in this case, we're here at a church that has offered us a place to stay, camp and pitch tents, and offer programs to the community as well. It really makes it into something that is not only a mobile intentional community, but also sort of a mobile roadshow when it comes down to it.
My story is the community here seems to be at the intersection of the events, the crises, the multiple crises that we're facing: environmental crises, social justice crises, and spiritual crises. And that of all the places that I might put my efforts, this seemed to be the best.
I'm very connected to nature, and that's why I studied ecology when I went to university, and I became a science teacher. And now, in my retirement, I didn't really plan to do this.
I'm from Ames, Iowa. I've done 2 years at Iowa State University, and I feel like the most important thing to me is what we're doing on a day-to-day basis here, because I think that the problems in terms of environmental problems in the world and in this country, it's big and it's scary, and I think that the best thing that we can do is get together and go at that problem in an opposite way. We need to be joyful, and we need to make music, and we need to be singing, and we need to be having a great time, and that's what I've been doing.
My name is Michael Zambrano. I'm here from Pomona, California, so not too far from Redlands. And I got involved with environmental issues in college because I took environmental science classes here, and I also studied abroad in England for a year. And I always heard about the environmental issues going on in California and happening in the United States, but it wasn't until I went to England that I broadened my horizon and saw that these issues are going on in other parts of the world. And it's very urgent that we do something about it. So I went back to my school in San Francisco and started up a group called SFSU Fossil Free, where we try to get our school to stop investing their money in fossil fuel industries. And our school had about $2 million that they invested in fossil fuel industries, and we were asking them to take that out. And within the first semester that we implemented this, our school decided to take that money out of the industries. And then, so now they're completely done with coal and tar sands, so no more money goes into that. And they're looking to divest completely across the board. And after that experience,
I'm from the Gila. Oh, right.
Are there any other questions or concerns about today's route or the logistics for today's walk?
We love you too.
I'm sure it'll only get more efficient as it goes on. I know.
You have a bag of
And I think the point is, we know we're in a crisis. We know we are in a crisis and that we have to sound the alarm. Consider us as a band of 50 Paul Reveres trying to wake up America to the fact that climate change is coming. Climate change is coming. We've got to do something. And I really have the sense that as we continue across the country, this march is going to grow. And we get to Washington, D.C., we're going to see a gradual awakening of the importance of getting up and beginning to do what we need to do. I mean, America has risen to the occasion before in the past. We've done that. We've risen when we've been faced with a crisis. This one is harder to identify. It's not slapping us in the face. It's up there. It's in weather. It's in things that we can't see as well.
I am a grandmother, so I am walking because it's just wrong. I'm sorry, it's just wrong to me to leave the mess that I've helped create. And I'm unwilling to finish my life without doing all that I can to help course correct this mess. And truly, absolutely, what we are confronting is hopeless. And what we are suggesting we attempt is impossible. But that's the exact reason we should do it. Because it is the thing, the impossible is what brings out the capacity, the human capacity at a whole different level. So it's why we should do it, because humanity is better than this. So that's why I'm walking.
Why am I here? Why am I, Benjamin, here to walk from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C.? To make the impossible possible, I suppose.
Are you planning on marching the whole way? And how long is it supposed to take?
I'm going all the way.
Okay.
That'll be 8 months. March to November. Either that or until my body caves out.
Nice. What's your favorite part about this march so far, even though it's your first day?
Blisters and the chafing and the community. But especially the orange trees.
They are free and juicy.
Hello everybody, my name is Michael Zambrano. I'm from Pomona, California. And I'm here on the Climate March because it is time to take action. I'm tired of waiting around, talking about the issues. And I'm just ready to keep going. I'm ready to keep marching for however long it takes to Washington to get our point across that climate change is real and we have to do something about it. So that's why I'm here on this rocky road, miles and miles.
Cool.
With my friend here, Jerry.
One of the big things right now is that we are willing to sacrifice our basic human comforts, our stability, our families, our life passions and work. For example, right now I've been teaching for 14 years and now I'm not. Like, I'm teaching in other ways, but the things that I love to teach, I have to put those on the back burner because without addressing this, I might not be able to ever do that again. These practices may not even matter because we'll potentially be absent from the equation if things progress the way they're progressing. So ultimately, it is, like you said, it's sort of a spectacle. It is a symbolic movement, but we're literally doing it. This is something that we're actively engaged in. We're marching full time, like I said before. There's days when we may not walk as much, but we're always going to be marching. And I personally feel as though our work is not done until there is change. So March gets done November 1st, 2014, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we've completed our march, if that makes sense. It's more of a grand unifying movement, not just for climate action, but it is for climate action, but because it affects everyone, we need to find a way to work everyone who has not been included up to this point in the equation.